Hi ladies, and welcome back to another video. Hope you're all doing really well. In this video we're going to be talking about how to forgive and what it actually means to forgive. So if you've lived for a while, you've probably been hurt by somebody or experienced some sort of trauma at the hands of somebody else. You may want to forgive, you may feel like you should forgive, but what they did hurt so much and it's just so difficult. And I totally feel your pain. I've had situations in the past and people hurt me in the past, but by holding on to those feelings of resentment and anger and bitterness, I've actually unknowingly attracted similar situations into my life and similar relationships into my life. So why should we forgive? So the first reason is that it's only hurting ourselves if we don't forgive. So by harbouring those feelings of anger and resentment and bitterness, we're actually holding them in our bodies, and then those feelings are then attracting things, people and situations into our lives without us even knowing it. It can also cause physical illnesses in your body if you're holding on to feelings of unforgiveness. It can also hold you back in life and keep you bitter and resentful, and it can sometimes block opportunities from coming into your life. It distorts your view of life, and sometimes situations or things that people say can be taken the wrong way because you're viewing things through a lens of bitterness and anger. So what is forgiveness? So forgiveness is not saying that what the person did was okay. And it's definitely not continuing a relationship with somebody that has toxic traits and has no intention of changing. Forgiveness is turning away from those emotions of hate and anger and bitterness. It's taking the person and what they did out of your mind, and it's coming back to yourself and knowing who you truly are, which is pure consciousness. And it's feeling the feelings of love and peace. So that sounds nice, but how do we do it? So the first thing is to know that it's hurting you if you don't forgive. So for all the reasons we talked about before. The second thing is to make a decision. Make a decision that that person is not going to affect your life in a negative way anymore. I'm not going to keep thinking about that person. I'm not going to keep harbouring those thoughts and that energy towards that person. I'm not going to let that person bring me down and continuously have a negative effect on my life and ultimately ruin my life. The third thing is to face the truth. So to face the truth about that person or about the situation. So what this can look like, I'll give you an example from my own life. I had some trauma in my childhood at the hands of an adult. But what I had to do was face the truth of that situation. So this adult had some very narcissistic traits. They haven't been diagnosed as a narcissist, so I don't know if they are a narcissist, but they had some traits such as no empathy and always having to be right. They were incapable of loving anybody else. So it wasn't just me, they just could not show love or empathy to anybody. So I had to face the truth of this person and that this person was actually incapable of showing love. So it wasn't about me, it was about the state that this person was in. So by knowing the truth and knowing that it isn't actually about you, it is about the other person, and knowing the truth of the situation, it's actually really freeing because you can then say, okay, that is where that person's at, and people are only where they're at because of their level of consciousness. So everybody experiences conditioning from their childhood and conditioning throughout their life, whether it's things that's happened in the past or different circumstances, and that is the reason that they are the way they are. So unless they consciously can look at that and realise that that's the way they are, then they are unconscious and they don't realise that they are the way they are. So with this particular person, they were the way they were probably because they've been through some sort of trauma themselves and not healed from that trauma. So by knowing this and knowing that they were only doing their best at their level of consciousness, I could then let the situation go. A really good thing to do as well is to visualize this person as a hurting child, and visualize whatever they did to you, visualize them doing it as that hurting child, and that will give you some sort of understanding of where they're actually coming from. Ask yourself this as well: if that person was healthy and happy, would they have done the things that they did to you? Or is it coming from somebody that's very, very unhappy? The fourth thing to do is to feel your emotions. So don't push the emotions down. Don't try and get away from those emotions. Feel those emotions. They're just emotions. So feel them and do whatever you need to do to get them out of your body. So that could be screaming into a pillow. It could be going to one of those rage rooms and like smashing up all of the things in the room. It could be journaling, getting those emotions out on paper. But it's really important to feel the emotions and to get them out of your body. The fifth thing is to trust in the universe or God or the creator, whatever you want to call it, and trust in the things that have happened in your life, and trust that they happened to show you who you really are and to point you in the direction of coming back to yourself. So I know this can be quite difficult and it can sound almost unfair, but if you think about it and you're honest, some of the worst things that have happened, if you look back at them, they've actually ended up pointing you into the direction of something good happening. So for me, if the bad things didn't happen as a child, then I wouldn't have done personal development, and I wouldn't have found out that I am pure consciousness, and I wouldn't have found out how to really love myself. I would have just kind of sauntered my way through life and just thought that I was happy, and I wouldn't have really found the true meaning of life. So if you're honest, if you do go through a heartbreak or anything bad at the hands of somebody else, you will notice that it will push you towards leveling up and becoming a better version of yourself. I've heard so many people say that their worst day has ended up being their best day just because of the lesson they've learned from it. So the sixth thing, so once you've done all those steps that we've talked about before, now is to trust God. To trust God that to help you to stop thinking about the person, about the situation. So offer up a prayer and ask for God to help you to, when these thoughts come into your mind or when these emotions come up, ask him to help you to shift back into the present moment and to know who you really are, that you're pure consciousness, and to feel those feelings of love. You can actually choose to feel the feelings of love and peace, and know that you are loved by your creator, and know that who you are is pure love. And number 7 is to focus on a compelling future. So have a vision for your future. You have so much life to live. You can have an amazing, incredible life, but you need to drop the past and focus on your future. Focus on loving yourself and focus on who you want to be. It's time to energetically cut ties with the person. Send them love, knowing that they are where they are because it's their level of consciousness, and you move on with your life. You live your best life. You have an amazing future. There are so many good people out there that you can meet and have good relationships with. So don't let the past drag you down. Focus on yourself, coming back to yourself, coming back to who you really are, and to create your compelling, wonderful future. I really hope that this video helped. If you have any questions, then let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.